I want to talk a little bit about how drugs affect you physically. You know, I've had people come in front of me that I could tell were on drugs. When you're on drugs, you're not in your right mind, and that's not a good thing, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're still responsible for what you do. What I want to talk about mostly for the youth is how charges affect you. You're all in high school, I assume right now. You're looking to college, I hope most of you, and you're looking to get jobs. If you have a criminal record, it's going to be harder to get a job. It's going to be harder to get into school. If you have certain charges or convictions, you're not going to have any financial aid available to you for college. When you fill out an application for colleges, I've never seen one that doesn't say, have you ever been convicted of a crime? Same with job applications. Most of them ask you, have you ever been convicted of a crime? If you get a conviction, you're going to have to put that on those applications. It will follow you around for the rest of your life. If you get to the point where you come in front of me, I'm most concerned with getting people clean. I don't really take into consideration that they're a star football player, or a cheerleader, or a star basketball player, or on the volleyball team, or they have family coming into town. My main concern is getting you clean. And if it gets to the point to where I think you need to be away from the community, I don't hesitate to send juveniles to the Department of Juvenile Corrections. That means you don't have contact with your family. You're in treatment all day long, every day. You have certain goals you have to meet, and if you don't meet those, you're there longer. It's not a fun place. But that's my main concern is getting you clean if you come in front of me. So keep that in mind as well.
In our small area, over the past almost 20 years, we've seen a lot of drug problems. Used to in the beginning, it wasn't as apparent as it is today, now in today's times. I'm a part of Lemhi County Drug and Task Enforcement Team. There's a group of us to kind of tackle the issue of drugs in our area. Sometimes I feel like we're losing the battle because there's so much of it when it comes to methamphetamines and things of that nature. We have now heroin coming back in, which is because of the fact that they've become such restrictions on opiates, prescription drugs and whatnot, so they can't get those now. It is a detriment to our community. I think it's become socially norm. It's okay to do marijuana or vape, those type of things, and they become very dangerous. Once you get a certain high in your life, you're seeking that next high, and that high you can't get a better high than the first time you've ever used anything, but you chase it and you're seeking it and you want more. One I can remember, there was a 14-year-old girl. She was a high school student here, and she had a rough time because mom was into drugs, alcohol, all that kind of stuff. Of course, we intervene. We become the people that take their parents away and put them in custody and try to get them in programs and things of that nature. And she just kept kind of relapsing and kept, getting into the system, and we'd have to, again, take her away. So this little girl ended up in a foster system for a while because of the fact that mom just couldn't stay clean. And during that time, we would pick her up several times. She'd be intoxicated and whatnot. She'd go to jail for a few days, kind of clean up and sober up. And the last time I spoke to this woman, I just sat down and talked to her, and I said, I know this has become the most important thing in your life to do because of the fact that drugs just become the number one thing. They have to have that next high. They have to feel that next good feeling that they express. So that becomes their most important thing. It's not their house, it's not their kids, it's not their car, it's not their career. It becomes that to get their next high. I just visited with her and I said, your daughter's 14 years old. I mean, one of these days we're gonna go and find you and you're gonna be deceased, and then I have to go tell your daughter that you're not here anymore. And she said, I know, I need to clean my act up and whatnot. Well, that following week, we found her deceased. She had died. So we had to go tell her daughter that her mom's no longer here because of the choices that she made. So, sorry, I'm getting emotional. During our career, We feel the devastation these families feel. I mean, we hate going in and having to arrest a parent or parents, and the kids are crying in the corner because their mom's no longer there anymore, or their dad is no longer there. And we are looked at as the mean people that do this to them. And all we want to do is pick them up and take them home ourselves because we want them to have a better life too. Our jobs are tough. You know, in this day and age, we're seen as kind of like the evil person, but we all do care. We have hearts. We all have families. We've all raised kids. I'm a grandma. So with that, if we don't have those interventions in their lives, there's no way that they can seek help because they're not going to seek help for themselves. Even if though we're seen as the bad person, getting them help and always having to pick them up on, you know, PVs or using again or something like that. To me, I see it as we care enough to intervene even though it's seen as a negative in their life. But at some point, we hope that that triggers them to want to have a better life. On a brighter note, this person called and thanked myself and other officers that were involved for being there to be the one to intervene in their life at that point in time. Makes you feel awesome. And even though he said, I hated you with every ounce in me, and I know I said horrible, horrible things to you the whole time, but you were steadily always there, you were steadily intervening in my life. And he goes, now I have a company. I've been sober 12 years. And he goes, if I didn't have that intervention in my life, I wouldn't have been where I'm at. In retrospect, that's what we strive for. We want that to be good. I just want, on an end note, just to let people know, if they're seeing somebody that has issues, you're seeing someone that's struggling, that's what we're here for. But if we don't know, we can't help. We need to let people know that we are here to help. If 2 people out of 10 people can recover, that's a good thing. We all as a core can try to tackle this because it's become huge. It's a monster, and we have to make it better before it gets worse.
I was 17 years old when I first started consuming alcohol.
I started using alcohol and weed when I was 18, and I started smoking then too. When I was about 25, I got into meth.
Started smoking cigarettes when I was 10, started drinking when I was 12. Shortly after, I started smoking weed. That time I was 14, we went to like mushrooms, cocaine, methamphetamines.
I was 11 years old when I started chewing tobacco. I was 12 when I started smoking cigarettes, and I was 15 years old when I started drinking.
When I first started, I was really young. I was like in 5th, 6th grade when I started stealing cigarettes from family members and then drinking alcohol and smoking weed. When I really started using meth, the first time I think I was like 13 and a half, 14, and after that first time it was on, it just really never stopped.
Started drinking when I was 16, smoking pot when I was 17, didn't use anything. You know, I dabbled into other drugs as I progressed through life, 20s, you know. Didn't start touching meth, you know, until like late 20s.
Chewing back on cigarettes, that was just what everybody did, so I just kind of just fell into it. And drinking, it was just we were at a party and it just happened.
I was in high school when I started drinking and stuff, and it was, honestly, I did it because I wanted to be popular, you know, and I just moved to Salmon High School and, you know, everybody was, you know, oh, the new guy, you know, so I just did it to be cool, you know, I did it to fit in.
When I started smoking weed and drinking, it was just, I thought it was fun. And it was something to do with my friends. You know, as I got older, I had things going on in my life that I wasn't willing to face, or when I look back on it, I had no idea how to face it. And so I turned to drugs because it made all the hurt go away.
My first drink was a result of trying to impress a female. I was arrested for minor consumption. I was the only minor at the party.
Because it was easier to say yes than it was to say no.
At about noon, I fell asleep about 6 o'clock in the morning. About noon, my daughter woke up, was climbing on the cupboard, trying to get a bowl out of the cupboard. She was like 4, my other daughter was only like 2. And they knocked some stuff off the cupboard, woke me up, and my daughter just, the look on her face, the terror. Sorry, Dad, we didn't mean to wake you up, but we're hungry. So I decided I either need to be a dad or a drug addict.
When my 10-year-old son told me that he wanted to go home and we didn't have a home to go home to, because it got so out of control, you lose everything. Like, I lost my house, I lost my kids, I lost my job. I heard the saying, have you ever wanted to go home but no place felt like home? That's what it was like. Like, it makes you hate yourself, it makes you depressed. I felt like it was easier to die than it was to live.
35 years old, and I had blacked out drinking, and I had headbutted my wife at the time. And I was placed in jail for a matter of a month. That was probably the low point of my drinking career.
My wife that died from a pill overdose. My brother died from a pill overdose. My friend just got life-flighted out to the hospital last night from drinking and pills. So I've had too many friends die from it.
You get locked up, you miss your family, you miss birthdays. My grandma died. Well, both of them died while I was, locked up, and I didn't get to say goodbye. I regret a lot of stuff.
It was the holidays, it was like around Christmas, and I was homeless and was bouncing around from couch to couch, or from, I wouldn't call them friends now, but whoever would just let me stay at their place. And I was, at that point in time, I was in a basement and coming down really hard, and it was cold and lonely, and I had lost everything. My family, my home, everything was just gone. And I don't think I've ever felt alone before.
It was controlling me when I wanted nothing more but to stop, and I couldn't. I didn't want to lose everything. I didn't want to lose my kids. I didn't want to lose my house. And I wanted to stop so bad, but I couldn't.
If you need those trials in your life, God bless you, man. Good luck, because you're either going to end up dead or in prison. And that's a fact. I've been so lucky. You get away for a while. You get away with stuff. But you always slip up. And it ain't worth it. I'm the lucky one. I am lucky and I'm blessed.
You're invincible. That first drink is not hurting you or anyone. It becomes more than that first drink or more than that first drug. You start hurting everyone that cares for you. You may make it through it alive at best, but you risk losing everything you could have been. You'll have more respect and get more out of life by just saying no. Make the right decisions, it'll follow you for the rest of your life.
My days that are hard, I try not to put myself in situations because I think it would still be hard to say no if it were in front of me. You have to change everything. You have to change your playgrounds, you have to change your friends. So that's what I did.
Bring at it for the rest of my life. And it's something that I'm gonna have to be on top of and work towards.
In all honesty, you think that this won't happen to you, and you have utmost confidence in yourself, I can handle it, whatever, I don't need to ask for help. And I'm still that way. I don't ask for help. I hate asking for help. I feel like a little park bench, you know, like I find if I don't ask for help, everything that bothers me will bottle up. If there's no release, then I explode.
So many people out there that are willing to help. There are meetings, I think we have 11 meetings a week, both AA and NA meetings that are general meetings that you go to. You can ask any counselor. Don't ever be afraid of the police, and don't ever be afraid of the probation officers, and don't ever be afraid of counselors. They're all here to help you.
My kids and my husband, they fought for me when I couldn't fight for myself, so now I fight for them.
Those people don't really care, you know, and it's hard to tell the difference when you're looking for acceptance and love, and take the time to really figure out what's important to you and then work hard.
So as long as you learn to change your thought processes and put what's important to you in front of you all the time, it becomes easier.
You know, don't ever think that for 1 second that it can't happen to you, because all it really truly takes is one time.
If you only knew how it was in the real world, you would be appreciative of your parents that love you, your running water, your heaters, you know, the fact that you get to come to school and learn stuff. You know, don't waste it. Don't waste it. Don't take forever to be where I'm at now, up here. You know, pick something, go to college, learn some stuff, get a degree, education. Don't waste it away partying. It's not worth it.
Those of you that are currently using and struggling, just know that there really are people out there that care, and that you're not alone. You're not alone, and that there is help and people do care. It'll probably be one of the hardest things you ever do, but reach out and ask for help, and don't be afraid. Use all the courage you have.
I'm here today to share a tragic story about my sister, Jennifer Miller. My name is Jennifer Miller, and I'm currently serving a possible 20-year sentence in a women's prison here in Boise, Idaho. I was once like you in high school. I had a good family, plenty of friends, hopes and dreams. I was going to play college basketball for the Lady Grizz in Montana. That was my biggest dream. I had that spark that's in all of us that shines through our innocence. My life was set on a course of tragic destruction the moment I chose to use for the first time. There are consequences to our choices, to our actions. You might pay the price shortly after, or maybe 10 years from now. Regardless, that's a 50-50 shot, but they both lead to the same place. Are you willing to put your life on the line for those kinds of odds? How about the lives of your families, the people you care about the most, or quite possibly the lives of innocent people you've never even met? What if I told you there's girls in here not much older than you who wanted one night of fun, had been drinking or were high, got behind the wheel, and woke up the next morning in a jail cell only to learn they took the lives of an entire family, or maybe just part of that family, leaving the rest of them behind? One night for a lifetime of pain and regret. Would that change your mind? Or a mother who was homeless with her children, living in a car with no heater, who was just trying to keep her children warm, accidentally started a fire in their car that took the life of her 4-year-old daughter. A mother who every day wakes up only to realize she'll never hear her daughter say, "Good morning, Mommy, I slept good." Never another "I love you," no hugs, no kisses, no little fingers to grasp her own, no more laughter, only a painful void. That story is mine. The consequences of my addiction. I didn't just hurt my family, I destroyed my family. Both of my sons struggle every day with the painful loss of their sister, a loss that could have been prevented. Now do I have your attention? I know this isn't the life you want, but it could be the life you get. Drugs and alcohol take away everything that you love and desire most in life. Pain, emptiness, anger, loneliness, shame, and regret are all that remains. That spark of innocence, hopes, and dreams, they can't survive where addiction thrives. I wish I could be there in person to give you this message so that each one of you could feel the emotion and the pain that I carry. You would feel just how real this is. It is never too late to ask for help. If only I did, how different my life would be. So on April 10th, 2018, I got the worst phone call ever. It was supposed to be a normal day, go to work, hang out, nothing special, and I got the call that my sister was in that accident, that my niece passed. And that day has forever changed not only my life, it's changed my children's life, my mom, my brother. In September, she was sentenced to 20 years in prison with 5 years to be served. Just like all of you, she went to high school, she played basketball, she did dance, she had big dreams. But when your mom says who you surround yourself with, whether it's your friends or your boyfriend, that really is true. She started drinking in high school. By the time she was 19, 20, she had moved to Boise. She had a boyfriend at the time. She didn't know he was a meth user. She kind of had that mentality, you can't beat him, join him. And that's just what she did. She started using meth. She was in physically abusive, mentally just in a downward spiral. She got her grips about her and was clean for a while. She ended up started drinking again and started using oxys. And when the oxys weren't enough, she began using heroin. And at that time, she was in a new relationship. She had 2 kids at this time that I haven't mentioned yet. She had a 3-year-old little girl and a 1-year-old little boy. Well, when you're an addict, it takes away your emotions, it takes away your thinking, it takes away everything. And with that comes, you don't work, you don't pay your bills, you don't take care of your children, you don't do anything. She ended up going homeless in April of 2018. She was sleeping in her car in a Walmart parking lot with my niece and my nephew at the time. She had no money for gas, food, nothing, so they had a propane heater that was stolen. She lit that at 3 o'clock in the morning, and at this time she was high on meth. So she lit the heater, she passed back out, and the heater tipped over. She woke up 30 minutes later to my niece crying, and come to find out the car was on fire. She got my nephew out of the car after he was already burnt. And when she went back in for my niece, the car exploded. And she's currently sitting in prison, and the rest of us are left here with the everyday heartache of losing a niece, a granddaughter, a cousin, and we sit here and watch as my sister sits in prison. If you're struggling, if you haven't used yet, to really take in consideration all the stuff that could possibly happen, and even though you might think you're gonna try it once, like my sister did, you're gonna be 10, 15 years down the road, and you might be burying a child because of the decisions that you made. If you're already an addict and you're using, get help.